go ahead. I want to let you finish there if I cut you off.
Yeah.
They come back and stay. That's
the whack-a-mole model. Police come in, deal with crime problems, and then get lost. That is not an effective crime control strategy.
That we agree on.
Yeah, we agree on that. Should the police permanently occupy particular areas? No. What I think, and what I think the research suggests, is that the police do go in initially, deal with problems initially, assuming some success, then they move elsewhere, crime does move, and they return periodically to those areas. And they don't have to occupy the area permanently, but they have to be back in sufficient numbers so that people in the community, both criminals and other residents, think, police could be around the corner any minute.
And where we differ is that I think that we need to look at those neighborhoods that over the last decade have accounted for the majority of the violence.
Agreed.
Those are the areas we need to target with police resources, so we need more community policing in those areas over a long-term period, at least 12 to 18 months, not 2 weeks. And we also need other agencies and city governments to prioritize those areas. So SLATE, targeting job placement, forestry, going in and make sure all those areas are clean, SLDC to come up with development plans and economic incentives for businesses to open up in those communities and for jobs to be created. But we just need to prioritize those areas in the same way as state officials and local officials prioritize the Rams' needs or Paul McKee's needs. But citizens in those neighborhoods have needs too, and those need to be prioritized.
It sounds like this is a little of what you all are talking about on the law enforcement side of the table. Is this a new way of being a cop,
Well, in my opinion, police are from the community for the community. It's time for police officers to accept their responsibility that they're for the community. And that's going to take time, being in school, reading, spending time with the children. I know sound like officer friendly here, but bottom line up front, I wouldn't be wearing this uniform right now if a police officer didn't take time for me. And that's what it's got to get back to that. Police have to get back into the communities.
So are there enough of you to do that work?
Absolutely not. But with everyone at the table and our elected officials, we're beginning to see that it's going to take more than just the hotspot policing and just the different type of initiatives that show up. It has to be a permanent solution, a permanent part of the policing strategies now.
You are new to St. Louis, relatively speaking, as your assignments take you around different parts of the country. You just from D.C., I believe?
I am, yes.
Give us your assessment, if you can, of just the situation in St. Louis, coming from a larger city with a history of having its own crime issues.
I think it's typical of a city that has crime focused in certain areas. And I think that what we've talked about at the table here today is something that is a good objective. I think with law enforcement reaching out, and we have the community outreach part of it, it's something that, like the lieutenant said, is doable. I think it's going to take time. I think it's going to take everybody coming together. And it's also going to take the responsibility on the folks that are committing the crimes to want to change. Until that happens, it's going to be very difficult. But as he said, if we can get them when they're younger and give them an outlet to do other things, play sports, go to school, get an education, get a job, get a trade, whatever, before they end up seeing us. And nobody here wants to see a young man going to jail for X amount of years, I assure you. So we're all parents as well. So people think that law enforcement is the big and the bad. It's not. When they get to us, unfortunately, we deal with them in a certain way. But we hope that St. Louis will be able to get out of this. And I think with everybody coming together, that's something that can happen in the near future.
And maybe a couple of years, though. I know James Clark with Better Family Life said that he thinks this is going to take another 3 years. 2018 is the earliest he thinks that these numbers could start going down. Final thought from the prosecutor side of the issue.
Well, I think that between Mission Save and everybody having this on the forefront, the media has it on the forefront, the community has this on the forefront, a need and a desire to solve this problem, that as we close all of these communication gaps, both with law enforcement, The criminals can't win if we have all that information and we're sharing that information and we're collaborating on it. And then we have the community that's willing to collaborate. Everybody is talking about this, everybody is engaged, and everybody can do something. There are so many things. There is not a single citizen that there isn't something that they can do, whether that's, you know, donating money or donating their time to an organization that mentors youth, or that is simply, you know, telling their neighbor, make sure you lock up your gun, make sure you don't leave it in your car, or, you know, asking a neighbor to participate or supporting a neighbor who needs them to participate in the criminal justice system.
I said that was the final thought, but I'm curious if the people in the 21st Ward would buy into this. Are they buying into the fact that things can turn around?
So I don't think they're very optimistic right now because they haven't seen any kind of change on the part of the city and police leadership right now. We want to see reallocation of resources. We want to see more officers. We want to see a plan to deal with the vacant buildings, the economic development needs, the job placement needs. But I also say this, is that if there is a Ferguson effect, it is that this is the worst I've seen relationships between the community and the police. And so a lot of who our natural allies would be aren't participating like they used to. So I get senior citizens who normally be the first ones to call, who don't call as often anymore. And so we have to repair that relationship if we have any hope of lowering these numbers.
You're nodding vigorously.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no question. I mean, the prosecutor can tell you, everyone at the table can tell you that the toughest part of both investigating and then clearing these crimes is securing cooperation from witnesses, others in the community. And if people are alienated from the police, they're not going to get that cooperation.
I think we'll leave it there. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.